Okay, let's review what we've done up to this point. Up to this point, what I've taught is how to solve a quadratic equation. Is it in this form? Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to something. Can I factorize the left-hand side when I make the right-hand side 0? However, sometimes you're going to get a quadratic that you can't factorize the left-hand side. So everything that I've taught so far will work for some, but not all. If we look at this one here, this is the progression of the thinking that you should do. Are there common factors across all the terms? Is there an x in x squared? Is there an x in 2x? Is there an x in negative 2? Okay, so that will not work. So I travel down to the next one. Are there 2 square terms here with a minus between? Well, there's friggin' 3 terms there, so scratch that. I check, is it perfect squares? Well, x squared is a square number, but is negative 2 a square number? No, so that fails. And then the last one that you've been led to believe will always solve everything. Let's try. What numbers can I times together to get 2? What are the only numbers I can times together to get 2? 1 and? Okay. And then you would have sat and you would have tried to find combinations of 1 and 2, positive and negative, to get negative 2. Is there any way that I could make negative 1 or 2 or whatever to add them together to get negative 2? What's the best I can do? I could get negative 1. I could get positive 1. I could get 3. I could get negative 3. There is no way that I can get this negative 2. So that is why you have you can think of this as like last chance, last resort. Clearly, all the methods that I've shown you so far don't work here. There's 4 of them. So we need one that works all the time. This method is known as a quadratic formula. And calm down, it looks like it's crazy, but when you work through it, it's not so bad. You're just putting numbers where the letters are meant to be. So for a quadratic equation that's written in this form, it has to equal 0. Then x, the solution is going to be negative b plus or minus the square root of all this stuff here, b squared, take 4ac, divided by 2a. This will always work to solve a quadratic equation. It never fails. Please note, if the value under the square root sign, if you're entering it, if it's negative, then you'll immediately write no real solutions. Can you please get this box down? This is what should go on your cheat sheet. And if you're going to take advantage of this stuff in purple, which says, if you can solve using this, you'll get full marks, then this might be the only cheat sheet stuff that you need. So just this box, please, and then I'll show you how it works. And then we can talk after. That whole rectangle down, please. So I'll give you like 3 minutes or so. A question? Obviously, you haven't been running on move it down, so you can go up. I think so. Quickly. Yeah, question?
With So like, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
The plus. Why did it have like a line under it?
It's a plus or minus. So remember how we've been doing, you can have -2, +2. That plus or minus, you have to leave that there until the very last step.
Thank you.
For those guys that are thinking of possibly doing methods next year, the reason why I've only crossed it out on the timeline is you can have a look at those exercises. I'll be here to help you with that. All right? What I'm doing is cutting down to the vital, okay? Because I can't say that I just didn't teach solving quadratic equations at all. That would be not legal. You don't need the purple, that's just for me to explain to you. Normally the expectation would be that if the question said you need to solve it using factorization, you use factorization, okay? The allowance that I'm giving here is I've given you a way that works all the time. If you can solve it with that, you'll get your full marks. All right, let's see how that works. I'm going to paste this up here so that we can refer back to it over and over again. This is written in ax squared plus bx plus c form. I'll write it up here as well. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. What is a in this? What number is in front? No, it's in front of x squared. There is a number in front of x squared, but I don't write it. 1. Well done. Some people say 0. But if it was 0, what's anything times by 0? 0. That wouldn't exist anymore. So a is 1. What is b? What's the number that's in front of just the plain x? What kind of a 2? And then c is just the number by itself. What number is c? -2. Okay? So we've established what a, b, and c are. And so the way this formula works is you just plug those in. Once you've worked out what a, b, and c is, you plug it into that. So x equals negative. This is where people sometimes stumble. It's negative whatever b is. What is b? So don't be tricked. It's -2. What's a negative times by a negative becomes a positive. Okay? So don't be fooled by that. That's tricky. Plus or minus, like she asked. Square root of, what did you say b was again? -2, and that's going to be squared. Minus 4 lots of a. What did you tell me a was? 1. And what is c? -2. Over 2 lots of a. What did you tell me a was again? 1. That looks crazy, but as long as you deal with your negative and positive numbers properly, you're plugging A's, B's, and C's into a equation. So what was a negative again? What's negative times a negative? Positive. So that first thing is going to become +2, plus or minus. So we're going to break this down bit by bit. What's -2 squared? -2 times by -2 is going to be 4. Well done. 4. What's -4 lots of 1? Good. And then keep that in your head. Right now, I've just been told that -4 times by 1 is -4. But then what's -4 times by -2? Good. So that's going to be 4 plus 8 here. Over, what's 2 lots of 1? 2. See how that step sort of cleaned things up? It's not as there's not so many freaking brackets and everything. So then let's add what's under the square root sign. What's 4 plus 8? 12. Over 2. There is some cancelling down that you could do here, but that will only affect the kids going to methods. This is the correct answer that I'll accept at year 12 level, year 10 level, sorry. This is acceptable. And just leave it at that, okay? Can you see how we went from this? We worked out what A, B, and C were, and then we plugged it into that crazy thing. Started off crazier, but then we cleaned it up a little bit, okay? I'm going to do another practice. What is A? What is A in this one? B? C? Well done. I'll paste the formula in again just to remind ourselves. We'll check it there. So X is going to be equal to negative whatever B was. What was B in this question? 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared. Take 4 lots of, what did you tell me A was? Bracket, what did you tell me C was? Well done, negative 4 over 2 lots of A. You told me A was 2. So at this point, it looks crazier than this because we're replacing the letters with numbers. But this step cleans things up. I'll give you a couple of moments to get that step down. Clean up the square. What's 3 squared? 3 times 3? 9. What's negative 4 lots of 2? Negative 8. And then at that point, so right now in your head you're saying negative 8. What's negative 8 times by negative 4? Negative 8 times by negative 4. Not the strongest with your times tables, are you? 32, because it's negative times by negative is going to be positive. So 9 plus 32, because it's negative times negative, over, what's 2 times 2? 4. Negative 3 plus or minus, what's 9 add 32? 41 over 4. And at this level, I'll accept this. I'm only saying that because if those kids are moving up to methods, their teacher will be like, no, there's more cancelling you can do. But right now, what I want to teach is how you plug this into that to get an answer. Okay? I'll stop there so you can